Welcome back to Crew W Racing. So in this video, I lost the intro to it. Happens. I'm having an issue with Google where everything was backing up to Google and it filled up and a whole big mess. So needless to say, I lost the intro to this video. So what we're going to do in this video is wire up midlife crisis. It's got to get done. So we're basically building a standalone harness for the car. What we got going on, and mind you, this was shot way after the ending of the video. So I'll show you what we got going on. We got a f23a1 and a cb7 early 90s Accord. So what we're going to do, we're actually going to run this car off of OBD1. So the computer that came with the car, I'll run the VTEC with the switch. Not a big deal. Because why? It's a race car. Because why? It's a race car. Yeah, there's other parameters in the computer that help with VTEC, like timing and stuff like that, but it is what it is. It's a lot easier to just run off the OBD1 computer that I have in the car already, instead of trying to find the computer, and yeah. Forget all that. So, VTEC will be on a switch, I'll flip it on as soon as I get on the track at RPM and just call it good. I don't see an issue with that being a problem, so that's why I thought we'll do it that way. So anyhow, trust me, with the standalone harness, it takes time. It takes a lot of time, I promise you that. I don't know how much time I got invested in it. But anyhow, like, comment, subscribe. Share the videos. Let me know what I'm doing. Let me know what I'm doing wrong. And we're just going to get right into this video. Alright, so as I'm looking at this wiring harness, this whole rat's nest of a wiring harness, I'll show you in a minute. I'm looking at what I actually need out of this whole wiring harness. So I'll show you right now what I need. Alright. Anything attached to these three plugs. That's it. All this mess is going away. Other than the wires to these three plugs. And the reason for that is a lot of this stuff is power windows, power locks, fuel sending unit, that pump. Instrument cluster, heater box. The list goes on and on and on. Hold on a second. Let's go over here. So, don't see any cruise control, anything else, anything fancy. Nothing's there. Oh look, no windows, no door locks. No windows, no door locks, no heater. So, all we need is the power, the ECU to power the engine. That's it. We don't need anything fancy for this. I wouldn't call it a race car. Well, it is a race car in some sense. But I wouldn't completely call it a race car. So, yeah. So we don't need any of that crap. It's gone. Bye-bye. Best I can say. Alright, so I'm going to start ripping the wires out of that harness I don't need and start figuring out what I do need. All right, so I got down to just the ECM and the wiring to the ECM. So I'll show you what's going on. Just the ECM and all the wires to the ECM that goes out to the engine harness. This is everything I pulled out of it. Probably a good another 20 pounds. Yes, this is the TCM out of the car. But here is a thing with the car. The trans, ever since I've owned it, has always been stuck in second gear. So I don't think I need the TCM at all. That's why I just eliminated it. So now the next step is I'm going to power up the ECM off the switch panel and the relay box I got, and we're going to figure it out. Alright, so I'm going to show you where we're at with the wiring harness, and then I'm going to show you what we did to the car, which you guys probably already seen on a short, but nothing like good little victories in progress. So let me show you what's going on. This is literally my engine harness from the ECU now. Yes, I gotta power it up. Yes, I gotta power it up and ground it. But literally, that's almost ready to go in. I gotta add a plug to the other side, and I'll explain that here in a second. And so I basically got it down to what I needed. So let's go over here. Got the alternator on, belt tightened up, fuel injectors all hooked up, distributor in. Okay, so what I'm talking about with this harness is I got two plugs that hook into here. Feeds this side of the harness. And I do got to feed power to this wire here. This black yellow wire. That powers the alternator and the distributor. Then over on this side, I got this harness here. Main things that power off of it, it's like the IAC and injectors. Some small stuff. So we got that. This is all tied together. There was a resistor box here at some point. You tie all the wires together because these are low resistance injectors compared to the factory ones. Hold on one second. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, this is a factory early 90s OBD1 injector. The resistance is basically these are I need a resistor box for these. These are like any other fuel injector. No resistor or anything needed for them. So that's why I had to tie it together. So I'm going to finish up the harness, get it ready to go in the car, and then I'm going to start working on the rest of the stuff. Maybe I'll have it running tonight, maybe I won't. But next couple of days it'll be running. Good to go. See you in the next clip. Alright, so now that the harness is done, and I'll show you it here in a second, we're going to move on to another project. So let's look at the harness and we'll move on to it. Right there. Harness is done. All I got to do is feed power to it now. So now we're going to move on to the next project, which is over here. Feeding the power. Let me show you what I got going on. All right, so we got this nice Chinesium switch panel. Got an ignition switch, start button, accessory 1, accessory 2, and accessory 3, but they got labeled accessory 2. Not a big deal. I know what's going on. Then we got a relay box here. Basically, feed power in, feed your the big wires are the power out of the relays, and the little wires are power into the relays from your switch panel. Pretty self-explanatory. Any questions you have, a diagram. The one thing I always do, it don't matter. There has to be a fuse anytime you're feeding power. I don't care how low amperage it's going to be. And with a switch panel, it's going to be low amperage. So, because all you're doing is turning on a relay. But you got to have that fuse there. Because if that wire rubs, you have an issue, then it's powered. It's still just going to create a big issue. So, always fuse everything from power source. Can't stress that enough. I've seen too many race cars burn over stupid stuff. So, I'm going to start working on this. Let me show you the plan with the switch panel. Alright, so the plan with the switch panel is this is going to light the whole panel. I went back and forth with that because sometimes I like to leave my fans on to cool the car down, at least the radiator down, then cycle the water into the car. But the thing with that is, this right here will be fuel pump. So, if I shut this off, walk away from the car, don't think about it, my fuel pump's going to stay running. That's never a good thing. So, I at least want to kill power to these three. I might still feed power to this, but then again, you leave your fans on after you walked away, and then don't think about it, your battery's dead. So I think I'm going to use this as a ignition and panel kill, and then everything else will run off of that. So I'm going to get to work on this and figure it out. I'll see you in the next clip. Alright, so we got everything prepped and ready to go. Switch panels all wired up, ready to go in the car. Relay box is all wired up, are already set and ready to go in the car. So let me show you what I got going on. Alright, so yeah, you can see what I got going on here. Oh, I got power, the main power wire. Let me get my thumb out the way. Coming in down here, and then it comes in and branches off and comes up here, and then from here to here, here to here, and here to here. So basically the whole idea behind this is basically this switch lights the whole panel. Kills the whole panel. So from there, then you get your separate feeds back. Belt to harness. And then because they're all the same color wire, I marked them. This is the fourth switch in. Second switch in. First switch. And so on and so forth. They are all marked. So that way I know what I'm going to feed to this relay panel. So let's get into that. So this relay panel came with a very nice diagram. So here's my plans. I'm kind of matching the colors to what's in the harness on the car anyhow. So ignition and ignition over here. The whole idea behind that is black yellow wire powers up like the distributor and the alternator and stuff like that. The yellow black wire powers up the whole ECU, and then the ECU powers everything from there. So it kind of matches them. From there, white to the starter, green for the fan. I don't know why I just picked that one. Brown to the fuel pump, and blue to VTEC because I do not have a VTEC ECU. So I'm just going to power it up. Once I get on the track and get some RPMs going, I'm just going to power it up. Not a big deal. Ain't going to hurt anything. Yeah, I do lose the timing adjustments and stuff like that, but I'd rather, with it being a single overhead cam, VTEC's on the intake side, so definitely need it. So let's flip back over and I'll show you what else I got going on. So I already got the butt connectors wired up. The one thing I did do, you see how that yellow and that black are together? It's the smaller wires. This is coming from the switch panel. So the smaller wires are what turns on the relays to feed the power out. So that's why one wire feeds two wires, goes in, turns on the relays, and then splits it out to the two different wires. So now comes time for wiring this into the master shutoff. I have the 4-pole master shutoff, and there's a good reason for that. Basically, if you run an alternator, you have to have a 4-pole because you got to kill feed to the alternator. Otherwise, the alternator is just going to keep the car running at all times. Well, the way I'm going to wire up the alternator, so I'll show you that right now. Okay, so this is the main power feed to the starter. Well, just so happens I can run the alternator right to that too, which then feeds power back, to the master. So it only makes sense. Just make the short jump here, feed it back here. But that entails some other things that we got to do now. Because ultimately, the best way to do this and would eliminate a lot of BS. But at the same time, then your alternator is always hot. So that there's no real best way of doing it. So what we got to do, because I'm feeding it that way, is get the pieces together. Is these jumper wire. Okay, this is the fuse lead. It's going to come off the alternator post or switch panel post on the master and then feed up to switch panel. This, we're going to come off the switch side So the side that goes to the starter, and then feed it back to the other side of the 4-pole. So this goes to one side of the 4-pole and the main starter wire. And this goes to the other side of the 4-pole up to the switch panel. Pretty simple, works, and will kill the car. And the nice part about killing the switch panel instead of just the alternator, instantaneously, you kill fuel pump, you kill ECU, you kill everything right then and there. So say I'm knocked out in the car, flat up against the wall, and you notice where my master is in the center of the car. That way, track worker can get to it from pretty much any angle and kill it immediately. So that's why we're doing it this way, because it kills the car. It shuts it off, and we don't have to worry about it. No fuel pumping, nothing. So I'm going to start putting this stuff in. All right, so we're going to cover a few things right now. Yes, I did miss my normal release dates, which is normally Friday night into Saturday I release, and then Saturday into Sunday if it's not Friday night into Saturday. But I was not comfortable where this video was at. But we did get the wiring finished, and we did get everything else hooked up, ready to go. And I did try starting it yesterday, and it wouldn't start. I'll go through it all with you. But we do have fuel pump. We do have fuel pump. We do have starter. And I'm pretty sure the ECU's turning on. I think I found the problem already. I got to hook the battery charger up and go from there. So let's get into it. I'll show you what's finished up on the wiring, how it is, and we'll go from there. Sorry about the bad angle. All right, so first things first. Power from the battery to the starter through the master shut-off switch. So then I feed off the starter wire back to the pole, and then through to the switch panel. Comes all the way up to the switch panel. Feed power, flip the ignition switch down, power to the starter switch, and they just daisy chains all the way down. And then this is all your outputs. Back down and into the relay box. The one thing I did have to do is run a ground. And this is just temporary, but relays all work. Then this is your outputs of the relays. To the ECU, the black goes up, powers the black yellow wire. This one goes back, powers the fuel pump. Then I got the fan and VTEC. Says I don't have a VTEC computer. So there's all that. Main harness is in the car and ran. ECU's in the car. Main harness is ran. Everything's hooked up, ready to go. Everything's going to be happy. There's your main harness. This is your distributor harness. I didn't want to see if it ran yesterday, and then I was going to shoot video. I had the wife and kids down here helping me. So it was just easier to just try to start it and go from there. But yeah, she didn't go, which is fine. Then I got home and I started thinking about it. I'm like, is the map sensor unplugged? Because the funny part is, I ran into this last time I had this engine in the car. Because technically, There's this big box that's supposed to be here. Has the map sensor and some evap stuff. All that. Well, I cut it out. So I thought it was useless. I thought it was just the evap. Well, come to find out, it was a map sensor on top of it all. And the engine did not run because the map sensor wasn't hooked up. So we figured that out, which is great. We got it figured out. So we're going to go from there, and I'm going to get the IAC wired in. And there was something else I needed to do, but I don't remember at this time. So it must not be that important. Or it'll show its head once I get it started and running. So we'll go from there. I'm going to throw the battery charger on it, wire in the IAC, and we'll go from there. Alright, let's try to fire her up and see what happens. I hope for the best. Come on, baby, make some race car noises. Alright. Power. Go pump on. Alright. Well, that didn't go. But you can tell she was trying. Alright, we'll investigate it a little bit more and see what happens. Alright, so as you've seen in the first aborted mission, something wasn't right. We changed the plugs and then found out that the distributor was 180 out. So let's see what happens now. Power, ignition. Alright, so as you can see, we got it running. So wiring is a complete success. And now we got a few little issues that we got to take care of. Just minor stuff. Valve covers leaking. This, that, and the other. But we'll take care of it. So thank you guys for following along on the journey. Like, comment, subscribe. And we're just going to, the next video, we're going to continue on where we left off here. I did not want to release this video until, it was running. So I want to make sure my wiring was good. So I just wanted to hold on to the video. Yeah, I missed the deadline, but there's a good reason why. So, thank you guys, and we'll see you next time.